Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here. On Tuesday morning, March the 4th, we have a pretty widespread severe weather outbreak later today and tonight that will focus in on mainly centered over the lower and middle Mississippi Valley region. This same storm system that is now producing some blizzard-like conditions out across the eastern plains of Colorado, the western central plains in the middle of the country, will slide to the east tomorrow and produce some strong to severe thunderstorm activity along the eastern seaboard later tomorrow into tomorrow night. Before we get to the current weather situation, and again, a significant severe weather outbreak is in store for later today and tonight, I just wanted to touch upon the latest on the stratospheric warming event that is unfolding. These are the current temperatures here in terms of way up there in the top part of the atmosphere, 10 millibars, what we call the stratosphere. This is the North Pole, this little circle right here in the middle. The United States is hard to see, but the United States is down in this region. Now, typically, you have this polar vortex, stratospheric polar vortex, an area of colder temperatures centered over or right near the North Pole, as is the case right now. But you see on the other side of the pole, on the Siberian side of the pole, we have some significant warming showing up right now. And again, this is the North Pole right here with some colder temperatures here and some stratospheric warming taking place right now on the other side of the pole. Now, if we go 10 days out, it shifts to this. The same orientation of the map with the North Pole right here, the U.S. down here. Notice stratospheric warming kind of overwhelms the pattern over the pole and disrupts that polar vortex. You have a kind of a piece here off the west coast and a piece here over the northern Atlantic. This kind of a stratospheric warming event can certainly have some ramifications on U.S. temperatures, let's say during the second half of March going into April. Oftentimes, there's a lag between the actual impact in the U.S. on temperatures. When there's a stratospheric warming event, it could take a few weeks at least to really have an impact. So really what this is suggesting is that we could have a cold start to the spring here in the central and eastern U.S. Something we'll monitor over the next several days. But again, a stratospheric warming event is unfolding, could have an impact on the central and eastern U.S. later in March and going into the month of April with colder than normal temperatures possible in that part of the nation. Well, last week we talked about the possibility of not only one or two severe weather outbreaks during the month of March, but perhaps 3 or 4 as we continue to have some cold air outbreaks making their way from the western U.S. into the central U.S., into the eastern U.S. These colder than normal air masses kind of set the stage for severe weather outbreaks, and that is in effect today across the lower and middle Mississippi Valley region. This is the forecast of the probability of severe weather later today and tonight as determined here by NOAA's Storm Prediction Center. Enhanced risk down across the lower Mississippi Valley region, places like Louisiana into Arkansas, Mississippi, and northeastern part of Texas. Really, the threat goes all the way up north into the middle Mississippi Valley, into the Tennessee Valley. Then we go to the day on Wednesday, and that shifts to the east. That threat shifts to the east. There can be a strong to severe thunderstorm. Places like D.C., Philadelphia, maybe southern New Jersey, certainly the Delmarva Peninsula, and an enhanced threat on Wednesday afternoon and night down across the Carolinas. So kind of a classic setup here. We'll go through the maps right now, but cold air moving in from the west, increasingly humid air pumped up from the Gulf into the south central part of the country, the Mississippi Valley region, and that clash sets up our battle zone, which can result in a widespread severe weather outbreak. Now let's break down some of the factors involved in this severe weather likelihood for later today and tonight. We're looking here at the 850 millibar winds, the wind speeds specifically as depicted by the 0Z run of the GFS. This is what we call the low-level jet. And whenever you see very strong winds in the lower part of the atmosphere, that enhances the chance of damaging wind gusts. Especially associated with some strong thunderstorm activity that will form later today and tonight. And this pattern really continues not only through the day and the night, but through the day on Wednesday as well, all the way to the eastern seaboard. We'll just walk through this here slowly here. This is by midday today, kind of an increasing in intensity of that low-level jet. Again, damaging wind gusts are the main risk of the severe weather. There will be some tornadoes in this setup here later today and tonight, and even on the day Wednesday, but I don't think it'll be a major tornado outbreak, rather damaging wind gusts, the main severe weather parameter that I'm concerned about here. And again, this is a main culprit as to why. Very strong low-level winds here. You see, we go into the evening hours, then into the overnight hours, and look at this. By midday on Wednesday, right along the I-95 corridor region in the eastern states here, this poses a threat of damaging wind gusts. Places like D.C., Philadelphia, maybe even up to New York City or so. But certainly we have not only today and tonight, but tomorrow into tomorrow night with the possibility of some severe weather. And again, a low-level jet. Really quite impressive here. It goes all the way into the overnight hours on Thursday and finally pushes off the eastern seaboard by the time we get to Thursday morning. So again, strong low-level winds suggest to me damaging wind gusts, the primary risk, not only later today and tonight in the Mississippi Valley, but in the eastern states on Wednesday and Wednesday night. Now another factor, the vorticity in the upper part of the atmosphere. These are areas of spin or rotation in the upper part of the atmosphere that lead to upward motion down in the lower levels. And this is the kind of a field you'd like to take a look at to see where that upward motion can be at its strongest. That, of course, promotes cloudiness and showers and thunderstorms. And right here, we have a very strong upper level system here now over the western plains here. And again, there's blizzard conditions right now with a very strong surface low spilling out over into the center part of the nation. Those blizzard conditions, eastern Colorado, just to the east of Denver, all the way into places like western Nebraska right now, and winds can gust up to 60 or 70 miles per hour in those areas right now. This vorticity maxima will slide slowly to the east, and this is setting up very strong upward motion right in this part of the nation later today. This is the midday forecast map, but when you see the Vort Max centered in this area, off to its east is where that upward motion right here is at its strongest. And again, that not only can produce some severe thunderstorms, but it increases the likelihood for damaging wind gusts and tornadoes. Tornadoes, again, I expect isolated to scattered tornadoes. I do not expect a major tornado outbreak with this, certainly on the table, but watch out for damaging wind gusts. And then we move a little bit later in time. This is the evening forecast map, and again, places like Louisiana, Arkansas, into Tennessee, Mississippi, and even Alabama, northeastern Texas, all under the gun here later today and tonight. And this whole vorticity pattern here kind of slides to the east. Here we are later tomorrow into tomorrow night. That strong vorticity field slides to the east coast, and again, along with it will come those strong low-level winds at the 850 millibar level. That's about 5,000 feet off the surface. And when you have powerful winds just 5,000 feet or so off the surface, any kind of a thunderstorm can kind of translate those strong winds down to the surface level. That's why, again, I'm concerned for damaging wind gusts in this whole area from the Mississippi Valley today to the eastern seaboard tomorrow. That vorticity center continues to move to the east, and it slides off the coast by Thursday. Very strong winds behind a strong frontal passage, a strong cold front. On Thursday in the mid-Atlantic region, probably gusts up to 45 or 50 miles per hour or so. Now let's walk through the surface forecast maps, again using the 0Z run of the GFS, a conventional version of the GFS. And here's that strong surface low, 988 low right here, again causing blizzard-like conditions right in this part of the nation right now. There will be some snow, but really the winds will be the biggest impacting factor here, gusting up to 60 or 70 miles per hour or so in the Colorado eastern Colorado plains all the way to western Nebraska, for example, here, western part of Kansas. And here we have that influx of Gulf moisture right here out ahead of all of this. Again, cold air pushing to the east here will clash with this humid air, this increasingly warm air, and that's your classic setup for a severe weather outbreak. And again, not only this afternoon and tonight, but it looks like there'll be multiple severe weather possibilities through the month of March, as long as we keep getting these cold air outbreaks from Canada into the U.S., or even from the Pacific Ocean into the western U.S. We'll get some colder than normal air masses. Now let's move forward here. Here is an area of concern, certainly for isolated tornadoes, maybe damaging wind gusts being the primary severe threat for later today and tonight, right in the lower Mississippi Valley region, the middle Mississippi Valley region, Tennessee Valley, accumulating snow out across the western plains here, and that system is intensifying down to a 981 millibar low. By the time we get to this evening, it'll produce a good snowfall in its cold sector here to the north and west of the surface low. Could have some severe weather going into the evening hours down across the Tennessee Valley. Then that slides into the eastern states on Wednesday. A downright spring-like storm for places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, with strong southerly winds out ahead of a strong cold front. A soaking rainfall, maybe a half an inch to as much as an inch and a half in that I-95 corridor region, in the Mid-Atlantic region, again with strong winds. And then with a low-level jet really pushing in by midday, anytime from midday through the afternoon hours into the early evening hours, you could have some severe thunderstorm activity with damaging wind gusts high on the list here of risk, even into the eastern states on Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday night. Accumulating snow, blizzard conditions out across the western Great Lakes on Wednesday midday afternoon hours at 983 low, sitting over the central part of the Great Lakes region. That strong cold front now right here in this region right here, starting to push, continuing to push to the east, will promote some strong to potentially severe thunderstorm activity, especially focused on the eastern part of the Carolinas. The timing is just right for the severe weather possibility, or likelihood, I should say, maybe over the eastern part of North Carolina, even the eastern part of South Carolina, with that daytime heating at a maximum here. Then we go into the overnight hours, slides off the eastern seaboard, and then on Thursday behind it, here we go again with strong pressure gradient between the departing low and incoming high pressure out over the middle part of the nation. You have these isobars right here, strong pressure gradient that will promote probably 45, maybe even 50 mile per hour wind gusts in the Mid-Atlantic region, out of the northwest. A much colder day on Thursday as compared to Wednesday in this part of the nation. Now, beyond that, we have an interesting situation for the weekend. We have the storm system, another Pacific Ocean storm that moves into the Rocky Mountain states at the by the end of the week, and we'll have to watch that. We'll have to monitor that. The GFS has been especially bullish for not necessarily this system, but kind of a trailing system here over the upcoming weekend. We'll just push forward in time, and here we go. This GFS model has been bullish on maintaining the strength of this system all the way into, let's say, Sunday. Something we'll keep an eye on. It's certainly on the table. I would say odds are slightly against this thing actually happening in this fashion here, but it can't be ruled out right now. It's several days away. We have to get through the severe weather outbreak first here, but something we'll watch for potentially during the second half of the upcoming weekend is a system in the eastern states. And there will be some cold air in place for the system to deal with if, in fact, it comes to fruition. We'll just monitor that over the next few days. But for today and tonight, watch out, a severe weather outbreak across the lower, middle Mississippi Valley region, the Tennessee Valley, and that severe weather threat shifts to the eastern seaboard Wednesday midday, Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday evening. That's it for now. For ArcFieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.